artists, it's Monsterpawss. So after I posted my video last week, my story time about being disqualified for plagiarism, I realized that this is a topic that doesn't really get talked about a lot in the art community, nor is it taught in any art classes unless you take like a specific class for copyright or something like that. As a result, it's kind of like a gray area where not a whole lot of people know what their copyrights are and what qualifies as plagiarism in the art community. So I thought I'd make this video and try to shed a little bit of light on the subject. But before we get too deep into the topic, I just want to take the time to say that if you would like to see a closer look at my process and a slowed down version of this drawing, you can visit my Patreon page at patreon.com/monsterpawss. The video is over an hour and 20 minutes long. First off, I just want to say, disclaimer, I am not a lawyer or a copyright lawyer. All of this knowledge that I have is from classes, or a class that I took in college and just relative experience. To start, I just want to go over a few myths and misunderstandings about copyright, and this is for copyright here in the US. I'm not sure if copyright laws in other countries are the same or if they're different. So, if you're in a different country, consult with a lawyer if you have an issue. But here in America, when I first took a digital media class, there was a small section where we learned about copyright. There was a misunderstanding in the class that you had to apply for copyright, and that's not true. When you make a drawing or a painting or you take a photograph or you make a song, it is copywritten as soon as the thing is in existence. As soon as you will that thing into existence, it has a copyright, and you do not have to apply for a copyright. The second myth is that copyrights protect ideas. That's not true. Copyrights protect physical medium like paintings, drawings, sculptures, photographs, and it extends to music as well. You cannot copyright names, titles, or like art styles. Things like that can't be copyrighted, and internet does not equal public domain. So if you find a picture on the internet, it does not automatically mean that that picture is free to use. That picture most likely is copyrighted. And the last myth is that you can change it to claim it, and that was my understanding back in high school, is that if you wanted to use a photo for your project, you had to at least change like 70 to like 80 or 90% of the original content, which isn't true as it turns out. And I also feel like not a whole lot of people understand the difference between using a photo for reference and just kind of straight up copying a photo and then changing a few things about it. That's also something that we're going to get into sort of later in the video. So now that we went over a few of the misunderstandings and a few of the myths, I kind of want to go over some of the consequences, both legally and sort of ethically and morally, when it comes to sort of ripping off somebody's work and claiming it as your own, or just not having a complete understanding of copyrights. From a legal standpoint, say that you use a photo, sort of like what I did, used a photo and copied the majority of it, but you changed a little bit of it, and then you decided that you wanted to put that photo or picture, drawing, whatever, on a t-shirt and sell it. So say that person that took the original photo finds out that you are using majority of their work and making a profit from it. Legally, they have grounds to sue you, and if they do sue you, it's not like if you get sued, not only are you gonna have to pay for a lawyer, you're gonna probably have to pay fines for plagiarizing somebody's work, and that's just never a good thing. So, criminal court here in America, where you are innocent until proven guilty, it is merely just a case of them proving that you are using their work and making money from it. So legally, it will just cost you a lot of money and a lot of time, and it's something that you don't want to go down that road. So legally, those are the consequences, but morally and ethically, it can ruin your reputation as an artist or a photographer or a writer or whatever you are doing in your profession. I touched on that a little bit in my previous video about my story time for being disqualified, and I didn't really go over exactly what these consequences could do to you morally and to your career. So let's say you're a growing artist and you're trying to develop your skills, and you use a photo or a drawing as reference from your favorite artist, and you post it online and you don't give credit to that artist. More legal action could ensue, and it's obvious that you use their art as a reference. If that artist has a following and they alert that artist, or more likely you will be branded as an art thief or somebody who's just not very creative or original with their content. It's really hard to bounce back from a bad reputation or a tarnished reputation, so as you are growing, you may be known as that person who steals other people's artwork, and essentially your reputation and career could be ruined. Both of those examples that I just gave are cases in which not only was the art plagiarized, but it was also theoretically stolen, and you're making some kind of profit or gaining some sort of popularity. But I feel like most cases are just somebody who doesn't know how to properly utilize a reference photo, and in most cases, whenever you're a young artist, you use the term reference photo as a photograph that you use to help you produce a piece of art. As you progress as an artist and you kind of gain more knowledge about the art community and how to use a reference photo in general, you realize that using a reference does not mean using a photograph and then kind of like making your own twist on it. It means that you use a section of a photograph or multiple photographs to help you render your own piece. So say that you can't figure out how to get the lighting right on a nose or an eye or some sort of anatomy, you can look up a photograph to help you and guide you to making the correct decisions whenever you're rendering your art. With young artists that are learning and don't have much experience, using a reference usually means kind of copying a photograph and changing it up a little bit. And that's not how a reference photo should be used. And for the record, I just want to say that there's absolutely nothing wrong with copying for the purpose of learning and developing your skills. Every single artist did it, and every single artist will continue to do it. Even professional artists should do studies and probably copy photographs, but there's a difference between posting a photograph online and claiming it as your own and saying that, hey, this is a study of another photograph or another piece of art, and hey, here's the credit for this artist. I'm gonna give you guys a few tips on how to avoid any sort of issues when it comes to using a reference. So the first tip that I have is to use a reference photo royalty-free and copyright-free website. There's a shit ton of websites out there that provide photographs that are copyright-free, which means that you can use them in any way. You can make money from them. You can copy it exactly as it is and use that photo for whatever it is that you want to use it for. Or you can get permission from the photographer or the artist that you want to use their art. You should always get written permission, so you can contact the artist themselves, or sometimes they have managers that take care of that. But if you want to use somebody's work, the best way to ensure that you're not going to run into any sort of legal issues is to get written permission from the artist themselves. And then my other tip is, it kind of falls in line with the studies. Do a lot of studies, copy photographs, and get better at muscle memory and learning your anatomy. This will exponentially help you when it comes to creating your own pieces from your own imagination. I've drawn so many faces in my lifetime that I can now create a completely original portrait without using a photograph, and it is one of the most freeing things to not have to look up a photograph to help you when it comes to anatomy or lighting. When it comes to lighting, I still use reference photos to help me because my lighting can be a little bit wonky if I do it from memory. Well, I think that's all the info that I have to share with you for this video. If you like this video, don't forget to smack that ass on that like button. You can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and Snapchat. All the links are in the description below. You can also subscribe. We do art things. Don't forget to leave some comments down below and let me know what topics you want to hear about in this art talk series, and I will see you guys in the next video. And remember, don't quit your daydream.